Thanks for joining me for another video on my Focus ST. Today we're going to be talking about the terrible noise this thing makes right around 3,000 RPM. Take a listen. Then you shift, nice and quiet. As soon as you hit 3, yeah, that drone, that ooh kind of noise, that starts coming in, and that's because this car has something called a sound Symposer. What the sound Symposer does is it basically pipes in fake noise, or rather it is true induction noise, but noise from the intake manifold into the cabin of the car. And when it does that, it adds volume, and Ford is trying to do that to, say, add a little bit of extra noise, extra emotion, whatever you want to call it, into the car. Bummer though, sounds bad, doesn't sound great. And in fact, if you watch the video on installing the green air filter, you can hardly tell a difference in the amount of noise inside of the car, because as soon as you pass 3,000 RPM, it just starts making that drone noise. So we'll pull into the driveway and we'll go ahead and fix it. Now to fix this, all it's going to take is just a very small package. This came in the mail, picked it up off of Amazon, but you can buy these in a lot of places. So this particular thing, this is what's called a Symposer delete. A Symposer delete is just a very small block-off plate that goes onto the intake manifold. Now you can buy these from a whole bunch of different brands. I happen to pick mine up from CFM or Central Florida Motorsports. They do a lot of stuff for Focuses, and I found it pretty cheap on Amazon. Now I will have this linked in the description below, but this is part number 4-0300. And the reason I chose this particular one is if you take a look in the center there, you can actually see that it's actually got a hole. Now this comes either with a plug or it also comes with an adapter for a boost line, and you would use this for boost reference. Say if you're adding a boost gauge or something like that into the future. Not sure if I'm going to do that, but it comes on here. Well, let's pop it open, get it installed, and we'll talk about whether or not this was worth doing. So inside the package, out is going to come our aluminum block-off plate. This does look like it's pretty nice machined aluminum. It's got a rubber O-ring, which is great. It's got that spot for boost reference like we said before, and then just the 2 bolts to screw it onto the intake manifold. You're also going to get in the package that screw-in boost reference point, and then you also get this pretty basic little plastic plug, but this is actually going to go into the firewall to block off the hole that the sound Symposer used to pipe in the noise from. So the instructions look pretty simple. It is nice that CFM sends instructions with pictures, but let's pop the hood, figure it out. So we've got the hood popped open, and right underneath the engine cover here, right down there, that is our sound Symposer. So that's what we're gonna go ahead and actually remove from the car. Now to get to that, engine cover comes off. Pretty simple. You just pull straight up. With the engine cover off, we can see down into the engine bay. And so right here, we've got a couple of 8mm bolts that we need to take off. That's going to allow us to take the Symposer off. There's then a piece right up here that's part of the Symposer, and then the hose goes into the cabin, and that's where we're going to plug it off right up top. So to start off with, we're going to wrench down at this piece here. We're going to start off with our 8mm Allen here. And like I said, you're going to have 3 8mm. So we've got one right here, which is holding the nut right on. That's going to come off. Then you're going to have 2 right down there. So we can get down there. Get that going, and then we'll do the other one. When those broke, we should just be able to use wrench by hand to unscrew these. Now be sure not to lose these because you are going to reuse them with the delete. And that removes the sound Symposer. Now with that part removed, we can now start putting our sound Symposer on. This piece, you're either going to use the boost reference port, or in this case, the NPT plug. We do want to put a little bit of thread sealant on here so you don't end up having a boost leak. We've got our thread sealant on. Let's go ahead. We're just going to thread this and just use your Allen key to screw this in nice and tight, ensuring that we're not going to have any boost leaks. So you've got that snugged up. You can now reuse your bolts from the sound Symposer, slide it right back down into place. And so the delete is now installed. We just got to work on removing the rest of this here. Now right back here, this is going to be where the controller for the sound Symposer is. See if we can't get a look at it. There's going to be a little plug here that we're going to need to get unplugged. And the port and the controller for the sound Symposer comes off. Now into here we've got, it looks like a Torx, probably a T25. I'll see if I can't get that removed. And so there's going to be a T25 right here that we're going to have to go ahead and loosen up. This takes off the controller. It's going to come right out. Cool. Now this comes totally free. So at this point, we should be able to pop the hose right out from underneath the dash there. Pop out our sound Symposer. And then out comes the unit. So this is the controller that we were unplugging, mounted back there. This is the sound Symposer that was underneath the intake manifold. Both of these things get removed. And then we're just going to want to make sure that we find a spot to tie up that loose wire, just so it can't get snagged on anything. It comes with a zip tie to tie off our sound Symposer wire. That way it can't get caught on anything. Let me see where we can tie this off to. There's a small wiring harness right down here that we can snug this up against. Now we've got to put the block off cap underneath the dash here. If we zoom right in, you can see that's right there. And this cap is properly sized to pop right into place. After we did that, you can gather up all your parts and tools, remove them from the car because we're all done with that portion of this job. With the tools removed and the parts installed, we can now go ahead and put our battery cover and all that good stuff back into the car. Right back on, and remember, this is just going to slide right into place. Snaps right back in. Last up is to start it up and take it for a drive. So we're in the car now, hopefully going to get a chance to hear what the car sounds like. Camera might fly, but we'll start to bring it through the gears here and just see if it gets quite a bit louder. So we're at 5,000 and it's still nice and quiet. Give a little gas. Yeah, that's awesome. So basically it's quieted down the car a ton. You don't have that like overbearing kind of, you know, extra drone style noise going on. Car's nice and quiet. If I end up getting like a true intake or even an exhaust, I think the car is going to sound so much better just because you don't have that crazy drone. Well, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Go ahead and let me know down in the comments below what you think and whether or not this is a mod worth doing.